Silicon Valley, you know that. Facebook, $100 billion in 5 years. Why? They don't even have a product because they figured out you use basically the internet, which is free, so you can be in every city, in every world country, all over the world. You have 900 million users now. You basically have people spending 65 to 66 billion seconds every month on your site. And all you do is basically connect people. And you make money every which way from Sunday. When people use it, when they blog, when they network, when they buy those stupid things for Zynga so they can basically populate Farmville and all play with their chickens and goats. So basically, you go buy, you pay with PayPal, you take a picture. Anything that you do when you advertise, you give them a piece of that. Apple, my God, look at where they're worth and what's happened to them, because not only do they have the software, but they also do the hardware. And you're all running around trying to stay fit, and at the end of the day, you're all listening to that music, and every time you do it costs you 99 cents. They didn't record it, they didn't pay Whitney Houston $100 million bucks. Basically, they just get a piece of that action. So every which way from Sunday, they figured out how to have a very low cost of basically doing business. Do you know the margins at Facebook is 56% on everything they produce and sell and every service that they give you? That is an amazing business. And then you have all the other businesses that surround that. Now let me tell you about a new one, because people say to me, yeah, but it's the 9th inning. Oh, it's not the 9th inning. It's only the 3rd inning, please. At the end of the day, there's a company, you should look it up, called Fixbox, all right, or Fitbox. And basically, let me tell you what they do. They have 1 million subscribers, so that means you have to pay a fee. You pay $65 a month, and do you know what you get? You get a box every month, and it's called a surprise box. And it comes wrapped with a bow, and you don't know what's in it, but you pick out a category. So you pick out clothes, or jewelry, or children's clothes, or sports equipment, or whatever. And that's the whole thing, is you get the surprise. That's where we're going now. You want to be surprised every month, because you feel good about it. And when you open the box, you think, well, that's good, so maybe I got a Hermes scarf, but maybe it was at a discount, right? Because I had to pay 65 bucks to get it. Oh, no. It's the same price if you went to San Francisco to the Hermes store. So you got to pay for it. And guess what's even better than that? If you don't want it and you send it back, they charge you an additional 20 bucks to send back what you got as a surprise that you didn't want after you looked at it. And they have 1 billion people growing 30% a month doing that. So how can you say we're at the 9th inning, because we haven't even thought of things that people can do yet on this internet? So at the end of the day, all these companies will go public. You'll have 2,000, 3,000 millionaires, and you know what they're going to do? They're going to come and buy real estate. You're also going to get the overflow from San Francisco, because they're making that the urban internet city now. And basically, just look at commercial. Let me give you some statistics. That tells you how good the economy is doing. Last year, we had 2.9 million square feet of space in the San Francisco Bay Area that was rented. Now, in some places, there's only vacancies like Cupertino of 4.6%. Now, you may have more over here, but let me just tell you that investment has gone up 6 times, rents are going up at 11%, and vacancies are basically down almost 16% in many cases. So at the end of the day, we have a very good economy here, and that means that you will get that overflow. You're always at least 8 to 12 months behind what happens over on the other side of the bay, and I know you're beginning to feel it, and it's beginning to spill over. So hang on to your hat, stay focused, stay working, because this is a good time. Now let me talk about real estate, because I really want to do that. Thing to me, because you know what? I look back at real estate, greatest investment people have ever had, actually grew 6.8% on average over the last 30 years, highest in the San Francisco Bay Area. And you know, you guys were really good at selling what I call the American dream. So what did we always sell? Community, lifestyle, school district, everything was wonderful. Come, you wanted roots, memories are made, a piece of the earth, etc. And I think that's fine, and I think that that's still there, but I think you need to go in a different direction, and let me tell you why. Because we have let the media for the last 5 years drag real estate to the ground. And you have people out there who have seen values go down basically here 20, 25%. In some areas 40, 50, 60, 70%. We're actually back to 2002, 2003 prices in most places. So at the end of the day, we have been told it's the worst thing that ever happened, and no matter what they're doing to try to stimulate this housing market, it hasn't come back the way it should. So something changed with real estate, and let me tell you what's different about it, and that means now that you have to keep that emotional component, but you have to go and bridge a hybrid, and you have to start to sell it in a different way. Because you can't sell real estate to buyers today based on community or lifestyle, and let me tell you why. Because you have basically out there 11 million people who are underwater basically in their homes, so they can't even afford to move. That's number one. That's going to change the listings. Oh gee, in many places there's not any inventory. Maybe that's one of the reasons why. The second thing is you still have foreclosures out there to the tune of 2 or 3 million that are going to come on the market, and that's going to skew the market. So here's the things that are different that are going to change the way you have to look at real estate. First of all, we have to say that there's not even one local market. See, we used to be able to say there was local and real estate was regional, and that's all fine. But now when you go into a market, let me just tell you what you can find. You can find some markets that are still depressed and going down in our foreclosures and short sales. 5 minutes away can be a market that's stabilized and basically is holding its own, and it needs to do that for 8 months before you'll even see any appreciation. You can go into another market that's very trendy and hot. You're getting multiple offers on every one of those. That's all cash, and in fact, they're appreciating. So the first thing is we used to be able to talk about the market, and when it was going up, everything was kind of going up, and when it was going down, everything was going down. It was just a matter of degree. Now today, it isn't just degrees. It's areas, it's price points, it's locations, it's neighborhood. Over the last 5 years is some of these areas have gone from 80% ownership, 20% rental, and now they're at 60% rental and 40% ownership. And that's going to continue for the next few years because who's one of the biggest pockets of the market? Investors who are coming in. And now you got the big boys and girls coming in, the hedge funds that are picking up $300-400 at a time from the banks, 30 cents on the dollar. They come in, they're going to rent these puppies, and they're going to keep them that way for 3 years until appreciation comes, and then they're going to sell them. So now you have a whole different profile of what was the first-time buyer, because you were very used to somebody coming in, buying a home, staying there 3 to 5 years, and then they moved up, and that fueled your market. Well, those investors aren't going to stay in the market, so you have a whole different first-time buyer, which means that affects the middle and the high end of the market. Oh, gee, we have all these wonderful banks out there. Aren't they wonderful? Gee, they're just ready, willing, and able to give everybody a loan. I don't think so. Today, you have to be a very, very able borrower, or you don't get a loan. And that means that the number of people who were able to get in, because we went from 5 to 7 million, isn't going to be there, because you've got to be all cash, a really good investor, or a good borrower, or you're not going to get in. Oh, gee, appraisals have changed. Oh, my God, we used to be able to appraise anything, and you just picked the price you liked, and they gave it to you. Well, that's not going to happen now. So appraisals have changed. They're tougher and tighter than what they used to be. And we also know that markets are different. Everything used to be, we've always been taught about the art of negotiation. That's where the rubber meets the road. Well, it may be where the rubber meets the road, but you may not even be in a negotiating market. You may be dealing with a bank. You may be dealing with a service center. You may be dealing with an international investor who, no matter what you give them, isn't going to sell you that property from a cold, hard day in hell. And you may be dealing with a new developer who's stressed, a seller who's underwater and really stressed, a traditional buyer who says, look, I'm not paying until I get all my money back, or some idiot out there selling their home trying to test the market, thinking they're going over market, and that's going to make the world work for them. That doesn't happen. So at the end of the day, negotiating all changed. I think now you have a market where you're serious, you understand the statistics, you know what comps mean, and then you can negotiate a little bit, or you're in an all-cash market which is competitive, and that means I win, you lose. The second thing is, let's talk about comps. Gee, those were wonderful. I used to pull all those comps, and they were just beautiful, and apples to apples. Do you know what? There's no apples to apples anymore, because a house can be the same as the 3-bedroom, 2-bath, and a tract, but everybody likes this one, and there's 14 offers on it, and there's only 1 or 2 offers on this one. That's not apples to apples. They like this one better. There's something different about it. Oh, and by the way, comps show everybody what happened in the past. So, if you're a seller, they're depressed and crying because you're showing them how everything went down, right? Which they don't want to believe because it's their house. If it's a buyer, you're convincing them they shouldn't pay the price they need to pay in this market because everything you've shown them has gone to hell in the last 5 years. So at the end of the day, I'm trying to tell you, you have issues and challenges out there that you need to start to address. So let's